Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever you are. I can see some people already saying hello in the chat even before we open the room. I see Scott from Santa Clara, California. Noel is sitting tight. Hi, Ganesh. Hello, Kathy. So I hope you can hear me fine. If you can hear me fine, type on the chat to the left or to the right, whatever it shows up for you. Because we're going to have a session that depends a lot on your questions, right? You have to be interactive. You got to ask things back and forth. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. Kathy can hear. Thanks, everyone. ATAC, Rafael, Ganesh, who else? Noel, Azi, Manik. Thanks very much. Yes, we're live. Yes, we are. So thanks very much for all of you. And we're going to have a very, very interactive discussion here today. And I really hope that you're ready for, lots of discussions and lots of things, because it's going to be fun. Now, let me start by asking you one quick question, right? I'm not sure which one I'm going to start with, right? So let me see here. So what do you think we should talk now? Right? I want to see I'm going to start a little question here for you guys. What do you think we should start? What do you think we should do here today? Right? Do you want to learn about the 5 things that developers must do to have a great career? Or you prefer the 5 mistakes that developer must avoid to have a great career? Right? So, you decide. Or the other thing we can do is that just answer lots and lots of questions, right? So if you have lots of questions, you might prefer for me to just answer lots of questions. But, let me know what you prefer on the chat, on the poll, on the side, this side or this side. I think it's reversed. So I think it's on this side, right? So let me know what you prefer. And so we can start with that. Let's start positive, Kathy. Yes, very good. Okay. Yes, so we can do very, very positive, but both are positive, right? If you're a great developer, avoiding a few mistakes here and there is going to be great. And if you want to be a great developer, also doing 5 things that you got to do every day, right? So the 5 things are things you got to do every day, right? Every day, right? So, once you learn you got to do those 5 things every day, you might like, oh man, do I got to do this thing every day? Yes, you do. And the 5 mistakes are things that you have to avoid. Well, sometimes avoiding things are easier than doing things. I don't know. You choose, right? So while you guys are choosing here, I can see it's leaning towards what we must do. That's very good. Don't worry. Why you're doing where's my pen? Yes, please take notes, Noel. You really should take notes. But let me tell you one thing. Towards the end of this webinar, so we've been doing 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and I understand that sometimes it goes a little longer. Yesterday, for example, whoa man, we went way, 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 way far. Sorry about that. But so let me tell you this: when we get towards the 1 hour time frame, right? By that time, we're going to be answering questions. So I understand if you can't stay. I know it's Saturday. Some of you have it's almost lunchtime, so some of you might want to go eat lunch. Some of you might be late in the day, and you might want to go have some fun with your family on Saturday. So I understand that we're not going to stay here for too long. So about 1 hour into this webinar, I'm going to give you a gift, right? It's going to be a gift for all of you. They're here. And, if you're watching this on the replay, I hope we're still going to have gifts for you, right? But I think I will. I'm going to make sure that everyone that watches this can get the gift, right? But you got to be here towards 1 hour of this webinar, okay? So, and I think you're going to like that. I think it's, I can tell you, people that I gave this gift in the past, they really, really, really like it. Okay, so be around here for about an hour. I can see we have about 40 people here online. So, there's gifts enough for all of you. Okay. All right. So let's get going then. So I think, have you voted already? All right. So no one wants me to answer the question, right? So everyone's like, do I have questions? Yes, you do have questions. So we're going to answer questions also. Okay. So that was a tricky question right there, because really we also going to answer questions all the time. So if you have any questions, make sure that you ask. That's not a problem. So most people kind of prefer to, it's 2 people voting. Oh man, last minute. Okay. So I'm going to end the poll right now so we can get started, right? So, okay, no voting anymore. So most people, by the vast majority, okay, so let me tell you this. I don't think we ever had a poll here with 0 votes, right? So I'm thinking I should not even answer any questions, because you guys do not want to answer questions. But, okay, but if you ask, I'm going to answer. Now, the vast majority, 74%, voted the 5 things developer must do. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 things you as a developer must do so you can actually so you can have a great career, right? It's only 5 things. And you got to do those things every day. I should have put a board here in the back so I could write that. All right, so that's up on you guys. You have to write that. I'm not going to write it anywhere, but you have to write it down. Okay, just 5 things. So let's start with this, and then we go into questions. Just so you know, you fill out a survey before you joined this webinar, and there was we had 102 questions on the survey, and every survey had 2 questions. So we have more than 200 questions on the survey, right? So we're gonna answer some of that, and also next week I'm gonna be answering those questions also, right? So we're gonna try to answer as many questions as you want. So let's go. 5 things that you must do to be a great developer, or actually to be a developer. I'll tell you one thing. First of all, you are in an amazing. Let me turn the cell phone off here. Keep pinging. We don't want to pinging things here, right? Okay. All right. So 5 things. So first of all, you guys are doing on the software development ecosystem. You guys are working. Well, so let me go to the second poll, right? Second thing here. Then I'm gonna reset this. Let me do another one. So just so we know where you are. So what do you consider yourself, right? What do you consider yourself? Are you a professional developer or just beginner developer? What do you consider yourself, right? And yes, just gonna, I've been talking to a few guys, and from your questions, I think most of you are professional developers. Let's see if I got that right or not. Let's see from your questions, right? Sometimes it's not very usual, but sometimes someone that's not a developer shows up. That's not a problem. Also, that's great. When we talk about careers, sometimes we still we talk about things that are important for everyone, right? So in the software development career, I can see that most of you are professional developers as expected. But even those that are just kind of starting, that's great. Software development is an amazing career. It's an amazing thing, right? First of all, you have the opportunity to create new things. You can work remotely, so you can work for anyone. You can learn from all kinds of different things. And the thing that I like most about being a software developer is that it's such a complex career. It's such a creative career that there is no limit on how far you can get, right? I usually talk about there is a definition that the guys called Oh man, I forgot the name. Oh, I forgot the name. But there is a when you talk about satisfying jobs, right? When you talk about jobs that are worth for us to do, of course, any work that you do, any job that you have, it's worth for you to do, right? You're doing it for the money of it. You're improving people's lives in different ways. But there are some certain jobs that the more you work on it, the better you get, and the better you get, the more money you make, the more career opportunities you have, right? So that's not true for every job, right? So let's say, for example, I don't know. Let's say, if you're driving down the road, I know that you guys in the U.S. don't have much of that anymore, right? It's everything automated, right? But if you're driving down the road and there is a how you call a toll place, right? A toll place, right? Where you have to pay to go across the road, right? So when you do those things, and let's say, and that's never stop studying. Yeah. So let's say you're going through one of those things in the middle of the road that you have to pay to go through the road. How long do you think that the guy that works there takes to learn that job, right? 5 minutes, an hour, right? And after that 1 hour period where he learns how to do his job, what happens? I mean, he can work on that thing for a year, 10 years, 15 years. There's nothing new that he's going to learn, right? So there's no way for him to advance or for him to improve his life just by working on that thing, because it's not a hard job, right? And that's not a talking badly about the job. I wish every human being had satisfactory jobs that you could actually improve your job and improve your career. But some jobs are simply not like that. But software development, the career that you are in right now, there's absolutely no one here that's not a developer, so we can really talk about development here. So the career that you are in right now, it is a great career because it's very hard, it's very complex, and that means that the more you learn about it, the better you get, and the better you get, the more opportunities you have, the more money you can make, right? So being a software developer, it's amazing, right? You can get like a guy like me with white hair or no hair, actually. When if I look to the side, you see no hair, right? When you can get old by doing the same thing, right? You get James Gosling as the creator of Java. He just moved it to Amazon maybe a month ago, and he's an older guy, but he's still very active, and he'll be active for a long time. There's way older developers than James, right? So it's a very, very fulfilling career. The more you work on it, the better you get. Now, the thing is, as developers, right, what we need to do is we need to always keep growing, right? So if you take a look at your career right now and you think, well, in the last 3 to 6 months, right, have you, oops, I forgot to turn this thing on. All right, so in the last 3 to 6 months, for example, have you, in your career, have you learned new things, right? Because the fact that it is a career that you can keep growing ever doesn't mean that you are growing all the time, right? So, think about it. Is in your career, have you learned new things in the last 6 months, right? Were you able to do things that you're not comfortable with in the last 6 months? Were you able to do things that were hard, right? Or not? Or everything you do is so easy, you already know very well. Because there's no growing in our career if all we do is things that we do that are easy. Okay, the only way for our brains to learn, get that, the only way for our brains to learn is when our brains are being forced. The brain's like a muscle, right? You want to get strong. I'm not, but you want to get strong. What do, right? You have to push your muscles, right? You have to push your muscles more than they're capable of. Not much more because you destroy your muscle, but a little bit more every day. So every day you do a little bit more than you're capable of. And when you do this, your muscles build up, right? And that's how you get better and better and better. The brain's the same thing, right? It's if you do not push your brain to do new things, if you don't push your brain to do more than you're able to, you do not learn. You do not learn. So let's just get an example, right? If you're going to learn a new language, if you just have the same words, and you have the same words and you don't expand your vocabulary, you're never going to learn a new language, right? That's the same thing for software development. If all you do is the same things that you do every day, and there's no challenging, there's no hard things for you to do, you're not learning, right? So we have an amazing career, right? We have an opportunity to keep growing forever, right? Really? Well, not forever, because at some point we're not going to exist anymore, right? But we have the opportunity to keep growing for all our life. And we keep doing the same, you keep working on software development if you want, right? Lots of people ask me, but Bruno, shouldn't I be a manager at some time? Well, if you want to be a manager, that's something you can do. If you do not want to be a manager, well, you don't need to, right? That's your decision. So, so we all have this great career. The other great thing about our career is that it's a career that's not tied to a one place or one company, right? We can work for all kinds of different companies. We can work for all kinds of physical places, and we can work for anything. Today, absolutely everything has software. You see, for example, all the new things that are going on. Amazon is changing the world of cloud computing. I don't know. People don't like Uber a lot, but Uber is changing the way people do transports, right? Airbnb is changing the way the hotel industry works. All of those things, it's all software based. Every company today, not in the future, but today, every company is a software company. Either they know it or not. They may think they are a hotel company, or they may think they are, a mineral company. They may think they are an airplane company, but they are not. They are software companies, right? So, absolutely every company is a software company. That means you can work on anything you want, right? Do you want to work on entertainment industry? You can. You want to work for airspace, right? You want to go to Mars, right? You can. Do you want to work with toys? You can. Do you want to work with robots? You can. Anything, really. Anything. Do you want to work on agriculture? You can. Do you want to work on medicine? You can. So think about your childhood dreams, right? Maybe when you're a child, you're like, oh, I want to be a soccer player. Yeah, that's not for the Americans. I want to be a soccer player. Or maybe you're like, oh, I want to be an actor on the theater. I want to work on movies, right? I want to be a movie director, or I want to be an astronaut. Anything you ever wanted to be, you can, right? Because all of those industries have strong needs for software development. So you can go and you can work on anything, really, right? Well, maybe you're not going to be the astronaut that's going to go to Mars, but you're going to be part of the project that will send someone to Mars, right? You can do this because software development is such an amazing field, right? And really, there's no way anyone is going to get to Mars without your work of doing software, right? So, you're the person to be there, to be doing this. So just decide whatever you want to do, and you can just go after those things that you want to do, because as a software developer, you can work on anything, right? So if you want to work on anything, let's say, you guys here kind of decided that we're going to talk about the 5 things you got to do to be a great software developer. So let's start with thing number. It's very simple. It's very simple. Nothing I'm going to say here is going to be weird or something you're going to say, I don't think I should do that. No. But I'm going to make you think in a little bit different. So first things first, to be a great developer, you got to every day, you see, those things are things you got to do every day. So if you do those things for 30 minutes a day, every day, excellent. So the first thing you got to do is you got to read code. Got that? Read code? Oh, come on, Bruno. I thought you were going to say, like, go to outer space to be a great developer. Read code. It's amazing how many developers don't read code every day. They only read the code they wrote, right? And they don't read code. They don't know the code. They don't know the libraries they are using because they never read the code of those libraries. They don't know the code that their peers in the same team are writing because they never read the code of their teams are writing. They only read code that they wrote or code that they know how it works. No, you got to read code every day. It's the most basic thing as a developer. You got to read code every day. And read code you do not understand. That's important. You got to read code you do not understand. The same thing with muscles, right? If you read code that you already understand, you're just lifting the span, right? How much exercise you think you're doing if you're just lifting the span? No exercise at all, right? So it's the same thing. If you read code you wrote, you're just trying to lift your pan, and that's not going to be a big exercise, right, for your brain. You got to read code you do not understand. But of course, if I try, to lift my car, right, and my car is too heavy, and I try really strong, I'm going to pull my muscles, right? It's the same thing. You should not try to read code that's completely, it's way beyond your abilities. So, for example, if I try to read code and I'm going to read the code for, for a cryptographic algorithm, well, I'm going to be looking at that thing forever, right? I'm never going to understand because although I understand a little bit about cryptography, I do not have the skills, the cryptography skills to read a cryptography algorithm, right? That would take me a long time for me to learn that. So, maybe you should not just like do a big jump, right? Read code you do not understand. So get some code. If you can read it, fine. That's okay. Get another one, right? So Scott asks, do code reviews qualify? Yes, code reviews do qualify if you do not understand the code, right? Code review about, something that you're doing very well and your coworker sent you what he's doing and you know exactly what he's doing. And you know what you're doing and you can just take a look at, yeah, that's fine. Okay. That doesn't qualify. You're just checking what the person did, right? But you gotta actually read code you don't understand, right? It really have to be something it takes time for you to understand. You got to force your brain. You got to force your brain, right? If you don't force your brain doesn't improve, right? So you got to read code. So go read code that someone else wrote, right? And that's hard to understand. So let's, a very simple thing to do. You're using a Java IDE. I'm sure you're using some Java IDE. Do you know when you put your mouse on a method name, let's say, I don't know, any system out.println, there's a println method name, and you put your mouse over it, and you can click on that method name, and it takes you to the source code. Which source code? Source code of the Java VM, of the Java libraries, and, eventually to the Java VM if you want to go too deep. So have you ever read system out.println? Have you ever read the code that you use every day, right? Code that you're using you're using like Spring or Java EE. Have you ever read that code you call in? Have you the code that calls your code? Have you any idea how that code works, right? So Kat is saying, can't say that I have. Lucas says yes, right? Or actually, I'm not sure if Lucas is saying yes for Patrick. Even looking at code you written a year ago, it's a great thing to look for. Yes, but the code that you read a year ago, they wrote a year ago, you might remember what you wrote, but it's nicer that you have to go a little bit deeper, right? So yes, but any code that you don't understand is valid. right? So go read the source code of things that you're calling every day. Every day, choose, you're typing, like you're going there, typing your computer, and then you say, why am I calling this method here? What does this method do? And then save it. So later in the day, when you have 5 minutes, you're going to take a look at that code to see what it does, right? And if you take a look and that's not nice, that's okay. Try to get code that you don't understand. So Manik says every person's handwriting is different. When you do peer review and look at others' code, you're essentially looking at his thoughts and writing skill. If you discuss on why it is written that way, then they could help you to learn new things. Very, very well, Manik. The good thing about code review is when you have people in your team, they're better than you, right? They write better code than you. So it's very nice for you to take a look at code written by people that are better than you. But a lot of times, so I totally agree with you. If you read code review, it's a great way. But just be careful if every review you're doing is about code that you can easily understand, that you can easily know what's doing because you know the project, you know the business logic, you know everything. So you're just quickly taking a look. That doesn't help that much, right? But if there is code that is deep, that you have to stop and have to think about it, and you have to understand what's going on, and you have to play the code in your heads, that's a great exercise that a lot of developers don't do. Once you write even a piece of code that you yourself wrote, once you write a piece of code, do you run the code in your head? Do you go take a look and say, let me see if this code here does what it needs to do? No, then you run the code in your head. Running the code in your head, keeping the variables up in your head and understand what the code is doing, that's what you're doing for code review, right? So code review is you getting someone else's code and you run the code in your head. If you're doing this, that's very positive, right? Lucas called debug in your mind. Yes, you got to learn how to do this. That's a skill. Okay, so a small parenthesis here, right? So the 5 things I'm going to tell you, we start with read codes. The 5 things, they're not knowledge. There's a big difference between knowledge and skills. Knowledge, it's what you learn, facts. Knowledge is facts, right? So you get a book. I've got this amazing book. It's in Portuguese, but it's amazing entrepreneurship book. But you get a book like this and you read all those things. Those are facts, right? Those are things you learn. Your brain stores this as a bunch of loose information that you have to retrieve to use it, right? So its knowledge is important. If you don't have knowledge, then you can't do things, right? But knowledge is important. But knowledge is loose information. Now, skills are when you get that knowledge and you apply to something, right? So this book here is about entrepreneurship. It's about building your own company. So I can read this book many, many times. What I'm going to accomplish with these? Nothing. But once I start to build my own company and I have to go through the problems of building my own company, then I'm acquiring skills. All right. So the 5 things we're going to talk about is acquiring skills. So read code is a fundamental skill that our developers must have. And read code is not about reading. It's not about getting a computer book that has the code written and you just kind of read the code, right? Read the code like this. It's easy. You just read it and you have no idea what it did. Reading code is a skill because you have to read in your mind. You have to debug in your mind. You have to be a compiler, right? Yes, your mind is the most powerful CPU ever seen. Yes, be a compiler, right? So you gotta debug your code in your mind. You gotta know what the code is doing in your mind, right? So that's reading code. Reading code is not about looking at how the code was written. It's not about formatting. It's not about are you using the right things. It's about understanding what the code does, right? So that's why I cannot read a cryptography algorithm because it's beyond my ability to understand what it does. Because my math, I'm good at math, but not that good. So my math is not deep enough to understand. I would have to study more to understand that. but I can read a whole lot of code. I'm a server-side developer, right? So I know exactly what happens when you develop a microservice, for example. I know what when the request comes and when it has to be transformed and everything. I know what that means, so I can read that code and understand what that code does, right? And I can, even if I never saw a code like this before, it's not way beyond my ability. It's a little bit beyond my ability, so I have to go take a deeper look. But you guys know a lot of things. You know about Java's memory management. You heard about it, right? So you know what it is. You know about Java's bytecodes, right? You know about the just-in-time compiler. You know what it is, right? So have you ever taken a look how it really works? How does the garbage collector algorithms work? How does when we call about hotspots, that hotspot optimize code on the fly? Have you ever taken a look how he does that, right? So you can start easily. Just click on your IDE, right? System.out.println. Click right there, right? When you do a simple hello word, it prints on the screen hello word. Have you ever seen how far you can go by clicking, following the methods? And do you see it actually writing things on the screen? Can you take a look how it does that? What is this? Does it write to a buffer somewhere? Does it call the OS to do something? What does it do, right? Being curious about the code you call, it's important. Being curious about the code that calls you. So if you're writing a Java EE application, for example, it's very rare that you call things. It's more that the system calls you, right? Take a look at what does a Java EE application server does when it calls you, right? What happens? That is important for you to understand. You cannot understand the Java EE architecture if you never follow a process, right? Ozzy says, I never for once thought about how system.out.println writes to the screen. Yes. So we are calling this every day. We don't know how it works. So go take a look. Read code every day. If every day you take 5 minutes or 10 to read some code, you'll be a better developer. You'll be a much better developer if you learn the skill to write code. To read code. Read code. Okay? So that's skill. Okay, so I don't want to be a lot in each one of the subjects. Otherwise, I'm going to be here for the whole month, right? One of the concepts I recently read, pick an open source library for a week, month, start reading through the source code and understand why the team opted for that design, right? What they're using, what kind of standard default, etc. Could be a good exercise. So excellent point, Manek. Excellent. I was missing the fact that was an important thing. So thanks for reminding me. So the best way for you to read code is an open source project, right? Any open source project, the open source project that you use, right? Go, are you a Java EE developer? Do you use Tomcat or Tommy Tribe or Tommy E? Go read the source code of Tommy or Tomcat, right? Are you a Java developer? Do you use a thing called the Java Virtual Machine, the JVM? It's an open source project. Go read the source code of the JVM, right? Every day, do you think like, Java C? Do you use Java C, the Java compiler? Have you ever used that? Well, go read the source code of that. It's available, right? All of this, so open source. So that is one of the best reasons why you chose the right career. Think about it. Think about so many careers where the most important things are secrets, right? That no one tells you. You cannot reach it because no one tells you, right? So all of those things are secret and you have to be inside to be able to learn from it. But software development is not like this. Software development, everything we use those days is an open source project. So all the secrets are open to us for us to see. Do you want to see how an OS works? Go see the source code of Linux. Oh, but I don't use Linux. I use Mac OS. Oh, do you want to see how Mac OS works? The kernel of Mac OS is an open source project. So go read the BSD source code, right? Because Mac OS is based on BSD. So Oh, do you want to see how memory allocation in Java works? Go take a look at the OpenJDK project. Do you want to see how your Maven build works? Go take a look at Maven. It's an open source project, right? Do you use an IDE? Do you use an IDE every day, or are you our VI user, right? Well, if you're not using IDE every day, which IDE do you use? Do you use NetBeans? Do you use Eclipse? Go take a look at their source code. Their source code is available. Oh, I'm a VI guy. I don't want to use any IDE. That's okay. VI is also open source. So go take a look how VI works, or Emacs, whatever you use for development. Yeah, so you can see how the guys do the things in your project you love, right? Yes, you use Jenkins, anything you use, right? So go read code, right? Go understand what the code does. All right, reading code is an amazing, important skill. If you don't do this at least 5 minutes a day, how can you be a great developer? You can't, right? Okay, so read code is very important. Second thing, otherwise, so I can talk about those 5 things. I should do this at some point, right? At some point, I will create a course, a training course where it is going to be a full day for each one of those topics, because there is enough information to talk about full day for each one of those topics. But we don't have a full day. We're already 40 minutes into it, so I gotta run. All right. So second thing you gotta do to every day to be a great developer. If you read code, you gotta write code. Oh, Bruno, but I do write code every day. So that's easy. I do write code every day. Yes, but you got to write code that you don't know how to write. Yes, it doesn't count the code that you spill out, right, every day, because you know exactly what needs to be done, right? You got to write code that's not very easy for you, right? So that's why, for example, one of the biggest things that we had in Java 8 was lambdas. Right? Lambdas was great because now we have this crazy thing, functional programming. It's hard to put our heads around it. We have to understand it. And we have to write code that's different from anything you wrote before. Great. That's amazing because it forces you to learn how to write new things. And let me tell you one thing. Your brain can only hold something between 3 to 7 things at the same time. And let me tell you what, 7 is like so easy things that you don't mind holding 7, right? You can hold the 7 names of your kids in your, if you have 7 kids, you can hold their 7 names once in your head, right? But if it's a very complex thing, you can only hold a few. It's not 7, right? Only 7. How does that work, right? How can you hold in your head a class that has thousands of lines or hundreds of lines? How can you hold in your head a software program that has hundreds of classes, thousands of methods? You can't, right? That's the true thing. You cannot. Your brain has to be swapping things in and out the whole time. And that takes energy. It takes time. It's not easy, right? So if you are typing your IDE, you think you're writing code, you're typing your IDE, and you do not know your IDE very well. You don't know your libraries you're using very well. And all the time your brain has to be, what is the shortcut that I need to use to refactor this code? What is the name of the library that I should be using right now? If your brain has to be thinking about all those things, that means you cannot be thinking about the problem you're trying to solve, right? Your brain cannot think about those things and think about the problem at the same time. So he has to swap in the shortcuts. And then when you remember the shortcut, it swaps out the shortcut, swaps in the problem again. And you start thinking about the problem again. And then you think about the shortcut, it swaps out the problem, swaps in the shortcuts, and you start to think about the shortcuts. Doesn't work that way, right? So you have to automate your brain. Your brain cannot think about those things. So automate your IDE, automate your writing code, automate how to do a for loop, automate how to call libraries, automate. How do you automate this? You do it so many times that your brain doesn't think of it anymore, right? So your brain keeps in the memory your problem that you're trying to solve, and it uses very little energy to just do the things that you already automated, right? So shortcuts, libraries, how to call functions, or how to call lambdas, or how to do a for loop. All of these are so tiny little things that your brain can handle. At the same time, you keep the problem in your mind all the time, right? And how you get this? How you get this skill? You write code. You write code every day, right? You try to force yourself to write better code, to write code in a better way, right? To write code in a different way, to use your IDE in ways you never used it before, right? So that's writing code. It's a very, very important skill that you gotta do every day, right? You gotta improve that skill every day, right? It cannot be something that you leave, oh yes, I'm just gonna do this on my work, and then, I might get better. No, every day, that's a very good thing called code katas, right? Code katas. Take search online for code katas. Those are little exercises that forces you to do the same thing many times, and will help you solve the same problem in different ways. So Xavier asked, which IDE do you use? Can you talk about learning all those things? How to learn about which libraries? So, well, I've been the worldwide NetBeans community manager for many years. The reason why I was a NetBeans community manager is because I use NetBeans for many years, right? So I'm a NetBeans user. But the cool thing about Java is that Java has so many cool IDEs out there, and you can just use whatever IDE you prefer. And, but what I like about NetBeans and Eclipse is that they are open source. And because they're open source, you can take a look at the source code, see how it works, and see how things are, see exactly how you can improve if you want, right? So, but, the cool thing is, the important thing is that every day you got to do something that improves your writing code, right? So participate in an open source project will help you write code that you're not going to write in different ways, right? In your project, for example, right? So Marco says, codewars.com is a great way to do code katas. Yes, I totally agree. I'm just going to broadcast this to everyone, Marco. Oops. Yes, so that's a very, very good URL right there that Marco is putting up. Gunnar says his favorite IDE is IntelliJ. And Lucas says Eclipse. Yes, all right. We're all developers. We choose our tools, right? That's the good thing about being a developer. We choose our tools, okay? So, when you hire a musician, let's say you hire a musician to come play to you in your company events. What do? You hire a musician and say, look, I have this old guitar here that's here in my basement. You're going to play with my old guitar. Is that how you do it? No. A musician is a creative guy, right? For him to play and entertain you, he has to be very, very familiar with his instruments, right? And that's the same thing for you as a developer. You are not artist, right? For you to keep the problem in your mind, you cannot be thinking about your IDE. So you got to bring your IDE with you to your work. Oh, but my company forces me to use Eclipse and I hate it. Well, so go tell your boss, I'm not going to work for you anymore unless I can use IntelliJ, because that's the tool I use, right? Because you really got to be very good at the tool that you use, right? I use that one too, but for a small project, I use Emacs because don't use much control space and remember. Yes, okay, that's fine. I'm also an Emacs user. I've been an Emacs user for a long time, right? And so yes, you can use whatever you want, right? So it's up to you. But you got to be good at it, right? So writing code, it's not about just writing just writing the code that I need to write. No, writing code is about forcing you to write code in ways you never did before. It's forcing you understanding how your IDE works. It's forcing you how to get better at your IDE. All right? So that is writing code. Okay. So let me run a little bit more. Otherwise, we're not going to have time to answer questions. Okay. So that's number 2. Read code, write code. Number 3 is delivery code. Right? you got a delivery code. It's amazing how many developers those days, they write code, they put in the repository, and they write more code, and they put in the repository, and they write more code, and they put in the repository, and their code never, ever gets to the hand of a user, right? Someone else is responsible for delivering the code. Someone else is responsible for dealing with the user. Someone else is responsible for doing something else, right? It's your responsibility to solve someone's problem. If your code is sitting in a repository somewhere, it's not solving someone's problem, it's not in the hands of your user, what happens is you did not finish your work, right? So delivering code is all about understanding what is it you need to do to get the code in the hands of your user. Is that packaging your code in an executable file that you send to your user? That's one thing. It is getting the code and put it in a server somewhere so the user can access that. That's another thing. It is getting the code and put it in a cell phone so your user can use from that. Doesn't matter what it is. Getting the code in your hands of your user is amazingly important. And if you do not think about how is my user going to get access to that code, how is my user going to use that code, how do you think that's going to work, right? A good developer is the one that solves someone else's problem. If you're not solving someone else's problem, you're not doing your job, right? And the funny thing is that we developers, we love to automate someone else's lives, right? So now you can have on your phone and you can come here and buy a ticket online for travel. You can come here and automatically get a car to move you somewhere. You can do all kinds of, you have little application that tells you it's time for you to run. It's time for you to rest. It tracks your sleep. We automate everyone's lives by doing software. And then when it gets to our own life, we're like, I don't have time to automate. Oh no, I got to do something else. I got to write code. I can't automate anything. And we don't automate our own lives. And automating our own lives is important because it's the only way that you actually going to get to deliver code to your user is if you automate the whole process of software delivery, right? So anything you do in your life that you can automate, right? Little things that you improve the way you write code, improve the way you read code, improve the way you deliver code. That's amazingly important. So every day, spend 5 minutes either doing something to improve your software delivery process or thinking about it. At least think about it. I get this code here and I have to put to these users right there. What can I do to make it easier? What can I do to make it faster? What can I do to make it more reliable? What can I do to make sure that I can do this without being here, right? So, so I can actually go to an event somewhere and my boss is going to say, yes, you can go to the event because there is a piece of code right there that's actually going to automate my delivery process, right? So it's really important that you think about how you deliver your code. Oh, come on, Bruno, but in my company, I work such a big company that I only put code in the repository, and then there's this other team that actually get the code and deliver the code somewhere else. Well, if you don't do it, at least you can learn how it's done, right? Go learn the tools. Go do this for your particular project, for your project that you do on the side. Go do this for an open source project that doesn't have a good way of doing it, right? There's all kinds of ways you can learn how to deliver code, even if your company doesn't allow you to do. Oh, and by the way, since you're talking about your company here, let me tell you one thing. I'm tired of developers telling me, oh, but my company doesn't let me. My boss doesn't help me. My whoever doesn't let me to do those things. Well, that's not their problem. It's your problem. If your boss doesn't want you to improve your career, are you going to let him not let you improve your career? If your company doesn't invest in you, are you just going to say, well, if you don't invest in me, I'm not going to do anything? No, it's your job to improve your career. It's your career. It's not your company's career. It's not your boss' career. It's not your wife's career. It's not your friend's career. It's your career. So if you don't take responsibility for your career to find the time, to find the means, to find the projects, to do those things, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think the universe will come and get you and do those things for you? No. The universe, it's not your genie in the bottle that will magically do things for you. Either you do it or nothing happens, right? So it is your life. So yes, Lucas, it is your life, right? So take responsibility. If your company doesn't let you deliver software, go deliver software in an open source project. Go create your own project to deliver software, right? Go do it. Remember, it's about skills. No one learns the skills reading. No one improves the skills by acquiring knowledge. It doesn't help that you come online and you go, I'm going to learn about Jenkins today. And then you come online and you see this Jenkins tutorial and then you read it, the whole thing. Whoa, very nice. Now I know what Jenkins is. Yes, you know what Jenkins is, but you don't have the skill. The skill is when you go and do it. So you follow the tutorial, you do the tutorial on the side, and you're looking right there, you saw the tutorial on the side. And then once you finish the tutorial, you get your project and you do the same thing for your project. Now you're acquiring the skills, right? Yes, Wender says no one cares about you. That's a different discussion, Wender, but he's right. It's no one cares about your career. You care about your career, right? So yes, you really got to care about your career. You really got to do it for your career. Okay, so which one? Okay, so read code, write code, deliver code. Okay, those are the basic things. You got to do this every day. There's two more, right? Fourth one is you have to learn how to solve problems by yourself. Software development is a problem-solving skill all the time, right? All the time. You got to learn how to solve problems. That's what you do. That's how you're creative. Solving someone else's problems, solving your problems, solving your project's problems, solving your boss problems, solving your company's problems, right? You have to learn how to solve problems. And there's a lot of websites out there that gives kind of different kinds of problems for you to solve. So I'm not sure if Rafael is present today. He's been here for the whole week, but Rafael has this cool project for the 100 days of Java that he gives little challenges every day. Heinz Kabutz on his Java Specialist newsletter has these puzzles and challenges that you have to solve. Java Magazine every magazine has a challenge that you have to solve. Trying to solve problems is an important skill. Not solving problems is not about going on Google and just asking, right? It's solving problems is not about going to Stack Overflow and getting the solution, copy and paste the solution. No, that's not solving problems, right? Solving problems, it's all about trying to get your mindset of first understand what the problem is, understand what exactly is wrong with that, understanding where you can act to solve that problem, right? Let me tell you one thing. Let's kind of an example outside of our software development thing. Let's say you want to solve that problem of hunger in the world. You see this millions of people around the world don't have what to eat, so you want to solve that problem. Well, first of all, you have to understand what is the problem exactly. Is lack of food? There's no foods? Food's not getting to the right people? Is too much food for some people and too little food for other people? What exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve, right? In Russia, many years ago, they killed the most productive farmers. So a few years later, millions starved, not because there's not food, but because they killed the farmers, right? So, what exactly is the problem that you have to try to solve? So that's one thing. The second thing is, where can you act on the problem? Can you solve hunger in Africa? Can you solve hunger, I don't know where, right? Well, no, you can't, because you don't have the means right now, but maybe you can solve hunger in your neighborhood. Is there anyone in your neighborhood that doesn't have enough food? Is there anyone near you that doesn't have enough food? So that is trying to solve the problem, right? So once you try, so you have to have that mindset. Apply this to your job, right? I have a software problem. What is the problem? How can I solve it? What can I do, right? What is it? One thing that I could do to improve that problem? If you don't have this problem-solving skills, you're not going to be able to solve problems, right? You're just going to do something that's not going to solve the problem, right? I work with lots of developers every day, and I get this all the time. People saying, Bruno, there is a problem here, and it doesn't work. And then I say, what doesn't work? Well, it doesn't work. I say, what is it doesn't work? Oh, I don't know. Well, if you don't know what doesn't work, how do you know it doesn't work? Right? So you got to go find the exact problem. What is the problem? Because you cannot solve something you don't know what it is, right? So this ability to solve problems is amazingly important. And you got to improve this. You got to figure out, look around you, right? Look in your house, in your family, in your life, in your company, right? What problems can you try to solve? It doesn't mean you need to solve it just by thinking about it, trying to solve in your mind, trying to write down a little bit. Just by thinking, you improve your brain. You improve the way your brain solves problems, and that's going to make you a better developer. So every day when you're going to work, let's say you get the subway to go to work, right? And keep looking, see a problem. Oh, the lines are too big. Oh, the subway is not on time. The place is too dirty. There's things written in the walls. Those are all problems, right? If you get in the habit of looking at things that are problems and you try to solve them in your head, oh well, if I was the owner of the subway place, I would do what to solve each one of those problems? Just think about one problem. Get in the mindset of solving problems every day, right? So Rafael is talking about his Java channel. So Rafael is here online. So let me put Rafael's project here, the Nose Bugs project. That's where he puts his challenge every day, right? So that's a way for you to have little challenge for your work, right? Okay, so we're about 57 minutes. I said in about 1 hour, I'm going to give you the gift. So let me just finish. So read code, write code, deliver code, solve problems. Solve problems is a skill. It's not knowledge. It's a skill. The more problems you try to solve every day, the better at that skill you get, right? So find problems. If you don't have any problem in your life, find problems in someone else's life, right? If your life is so perfect, you have no problem. Try to find, but don't just say, oh, yes, if it was me, I would just reduce the lines. Check. I solved that problem. No, it's not like this, right? Why there are the lines? Are there big lines because there's not enough trains, because there's not enough people in the counter to sell tickets? Are they actually keeping people in line to buy tickets because it's too crowded downstairs? I don't know. You got to think about it. You got to think what the problem is, right? Try to solve problems. And if you don't want to solve words problems, right, you can practice with code problems, right? Get a open source project. See if they have a bug that's not being fixed. Try to find out where the bug happens, why the bug happens, right? And it helps you even if you're doing your day job. You found a bug in your project. Instead of just saying, oh, something doesn't work, go take a look, right? Go see what doesn't work, why it doesn't work. So when you create a bug report, you create exactly what is that you're trying that needs to be fixed, right? So you can do an open source, you can do it in your project, you can do it everywhere. All right. Okay. So fifth thing that you must do every day to be a great developer: read code, write code, deliver code, solve a problem by yourself. Fifth thing is share your solution with others. Share your solution. Share what you learned. Share what you know. Software development is a collaborative effort. You do software development with teams, with people. It solves people's problems. It's marketed by people. It's managed by people. Software development is an amazing collaborative effort. There's very few industries where collaboration is so important as software development. Well, there are some. You got movies, for example, are very collaborative. You got any big engineering project is very collaborative, right? But software development is amazing collaborative. You cannot do anything by yourself. Any project of size, you have to deal with your users. You have to deal with marketing. You have to deal, even if you're one person company, it's still a collaborative process because you are using open source projects. You are using lots of different things, right? And so Ganesh says, share your code. It's not only about sharing your code, Ganesh. It's sharing what you know, right? It means sharing your code, sharing your knowledge, sharing the tricks that you learned, share the things the problems that you try to solve, right? Share what you know. You cannot be a good developer if you keep everything for yourself, right? And I was interviewing Ed Burns. I really think you should take. So let me ask you. Rodrigo is here. Help me out, Rodrigo. If you can get the URL for my interview with Ed Burns, it's on. Just take a look on YouTube. You're gonna find it. So I interviewed this guy, Ed Burns, and Ed has an amazing book. Oh, I think I had it here somewhere. I think I put it away. Okay, so Ed has this amazing book called The Secrets of Rockstar Developers, where he interviewed the best developers in the industry, right? So, and basically, I asked him, so Ed, what is the most important things that a developer must have for him to become a great developer? And he said, well, he needs to collaborate and he needs to share what he knows. Right? He gave a soft skill, because the hard skill about writing code, reading code, you must have that. Otherwise, you're not even going to be a developer. But once you start sharing what you know, you become important for your community. You become important for your project. You become important for your friends. You become important for your city, for your user group, right? And that's when you start creating your network. That's when you start growing as a developer. That's when you start finding cool projects. Then when you start expanding your network and finding and working with the best people in the industry, right? Yeah, so Rodrigo put there the link to the Ed Burns interview. I think it's very, very worth, right? And what you not know exactly. So, okay, so yes, you can share what you not know, right? It takes a skill to do this, Patrick, right? But you should share what you know. I can guarantee that you can share things, right? You can share little fix on an open source project. You can share your what you found out that it was wrong in the documentation. You can share what you know about Java. You can even share what you just learned. So let's say, for example, you're taking notes, right? I ask you to get a pen. You're taking notes of all those things, right? So if you're not taking notes, take notes right now. There's 5 things you need to do to be a great developer. It is read code, write code, deliver code, solve problems, and share what you know. So write down those 5 things. Tomorrow or Monday, when you get to your work, say, hey guys, come here, everyone. Let me share you what I learned this weekend. And you share exactly this. That's it. Share what you know, right? Whatever you learn, share it with others. Once you start doing this, amazing things are going to happen in your life, right? Amazing things. You get everyone that the big rock stars of the Java world, the big Java champions, the big, the big developers that you want to watch their talks. All of them share what they know. And many of them started sharing when they knew very little, right? So you can share whatever you know, right? You can share. So this is extremely important. Learn how to share. It doesn't need to give talks, but you can go on Twitter and share what you know on Twitter. You can go write a blog post. You can write an article. You can share with your colleagues, the guy that sits right by you, and you can share, oh, look at here. I just learned this new technique to solve our problems. Let me show how it works, right? Sharing is extremely important, okay? So those 5 things. All right, so I'm here on the, yes, I'm a little bit over an hour. I promised you guys that I was going to give you a gift at the end of this hour. So many can say my most favorite example of read, learn, share is this. Sheikh Lati, he learned 1 technology per week and shared learning on his blog. Excellent. Yes, excellent. So let me tell you a little story. You can search for this girl online. Her name is Jennifer DeWalt, right? Yeah, I'm gonna give the gift in a minute, Aziz. So since Monique mentioned this guy, he's learning 1 technology per week. And so search online this girl, Jennifer DeWalt. Jennifer, she was not a developer. She never developed software before. I don't remember what she was. I think she was some kind of artist. I'm not sure, like a graphic artist, or maybe she was like I don't know. I don't remember. She was some kind of artist, I think. And then she decided to learn software development, right? So she did exactly like this guy did, but she created a project, 180 days, where she did one project a day. So she wrote a project and delivered the project 1 a day. So she started very simple. She started creating a hello world page, and she kept doing 1 project a day. Yes, making 180 websites in 180 days. Exactly. So that's exactly her, right? So just take a look at her story, right? She wrote 180 JavaScript projects. I mean, it's much easier than things you guys are doing, right? And because she was doing it and sharing, before she finished her 180 days, she got a job as a developer. And then after that, she got her job as a developer. She created her own company. She created another company. And then now she is a founder of a Y Combinator company. So she's been accepted into the most important startup incubator in the world. So she is a Y Combinator founder right now, just because she did 180 days of sharing. Answer me. Can you do 180 days of sharing of anything? Right? Rafael is doing 100 days of Java. So he's sharing 1 tip a day about Java. Can you do that? Can you share 100 things about something for the next 3 months? Right? Come on, that's not so hard. And you can change your life completely just by doing this, just by sharing what you know. I'm not talking about sharing something you never heard before. Sharing what you know. Share what you did, right? So, yeah, Ganesh, I know you can do this, because someone that wakes at 5 a.m. to watch a webinar, I know you can do that, right? And so, you really can do those things, guys. It's guys, girls, men, women, everyone, right? You really can do this. You're a software developer. You have lots of things to share. You have way more knowledge than you think you do. To be here, most of you, let me get the poll again. Most of you, 55% of you said you're professional developers. You have a lot to share. When you say 29% of you said that you are beginners, few years of experience, I can tell you, if you're still in school, you have things to share, right? 16% said you're still learning to be about a developer. Jennifer DeWalt was not a developer, and she was sharing what she was learning. So yes, you have what it takes to share things, right? So learn this skill of sharing, because that's going to be extremely, extremely important. All right. So here's my gift for you. Okay. I promise I'm going to have a gift. So let's see. First, let me ask Rodrigo. Rodrigo, did you test the button that I sent you? I hope you did. All right. So I know I know it's hard for us to start, right? I know I'm talking about all kinds of things here, those 5 things that you need to do every day. And you're thinking, oh man, Bruno is right. I really should do those. But, my project doesn't let me do this. Or, I don't have the time. Or, I don't have the money. Or, my life sucks right now. I have problems with my family. Someone is sick in my house. I don't know. I'm sure you have all kinds of problems. I have all kinds of problems. We all have all kinds of problems, right? And a lot of times what's missing is someone from the outside should take a look at what you're doing and give you the right, give you some suggestions for what you can do to change your life, right? Sometimes that's what it takes. And someone sent me an email last week saying, Bruno, how do I find someone like this on the internet? It's not easy, right? It's not easy. People that are able to do this don't have the time to do it. It's not an easy thing to do. So what I'm going to do right now is, yes. So Deepak says, ask for a mentor. Yes. Sometimes what you do, is, what you need is someone to help you out. So I don't have a whole lot of time, but I recognize the time that you guys are investing this week improving your career, right? I understand that's a very, very good time. You're putting your effort. So since you're putting effort, I'm going to put effort with you, right? So I'm going to open right now. So before I open, I'm just going to tell you what it is. So when you do it, you know exactly what it is. I'm going to open right now a series of 30 minutes discussions. I'm going to put my time in to help you. I'm gonna sit with you one-on-one, understand what your problem is, understand what's holding you back. I'm gonna help you solve what is holding you back, right? And I'm gonna do this with a one-on-one conversation, me and you. Okay, so I'm gonna open this right now. All right, so you can schedule now. It's no strings attached, right? It's completely free. I'm not charging you anything. It's my own time that I'm putting on this. I think you deserve, because you want to improve your career. So I'm going to work with you. You don't have to buy anything from me. It's like totally no strings attachment, right? So if you schedule a time with me, so what's going to happen? If you click that button, it's going to get you a scheduling calendar. And that scheduling calendar will let you schedule a time that works for you, right? So you choose whatever time you can, and then you schedule that time. So then let me explain one thing. I have right now 2 weeks, starting Monday. I have 2 weeks to do this, right? And then I'm going to have an event called the TDC, the Developer Conference here in Brazil. It's a very, very large event that I have to participate. But I'm going to open times after the event. I'm going to open some more times, right? So if everyone here fills out those next 2 weeks, if there's no more slots, let me know and I'm going to open more slots, right? So try to schedule right now. Don't wait. Do not wait, because there's not a lot of slots, right? So I'm not sure if everyone wants to do this. I'm not sure if you really, how you are with your English, to talk with me in English. I don't know. There's people from all over. There's some people that just like to hear. They're not very good in talking. I can speak Portuguese if you want, but I know. But I'm not sure if everyone wants to do this, right? Maybe you don't think maybe you think your career is great anyway. So, so just schedule right now, whatever, schedule right now, no strings attached. If you try to schedule and you tell me, Bruno, there's no more slots available, then I'm going to do something to get more slots available. Okay. But I'm putting my time here to help you get your career to the next level. It's going to be a 30 minutes conversation. Yeah, the conversation can be in Portuguese, Carlos. Yes. That's the only two languages I know, right? It's Portuguese and English. I can fake in Spanish. If you understand my Portuñol, I can fake Spanish also. But but that's the best I can do. If you can't do English, Portuguese, or a fake Spanish, then we got to figure out something else. But schedule your time. If there's no more schedule available, I'm going to start answering questions now. So I'm just going to leave this open here for as long as you guys need. If there's no more open times available, let me know, and I can quickly here open some more times. But I want to get all of you that want, right? All of you guys that are watching this here. So we have, so let me tell you, there's 50 of you, right? 50 of you means that, all right, 50 of you means I'm gonna, if all of you try to register, I may have to open up some new times. I don't think there's 50 slots available, right? So let me know. Well, there's 49 now, so one person left, so that's okay. All right, so try to schedule. No, it's so when you schedule a slot, it's a 30 minutes slot, Scott. Don't worry, it's in 15 minutes. But when you schedule, it's going to schedule a 30-minute slot. All right. Yes. So just try to schedule. All right. Okay. So questions. Let me see. I'm going to start with some questions here. While you guys are scheduling, I'm just going to start with some questions that people ask it on the forum. Okay. Let me see here. Lots of people asked about one thing here that I'm going to start with this because lots of people ask about the same things. Aslun asked, keeping up with new technology. Naidu said, lots of things to learn, but no time. Some other people have, let's see, choose between 1,000. Sudash said choosing between 1,000 available options, right? Satya asked about being updated to the latest stuff, right? Joel says keep up with the new technologies. Marwin says how to keep up with the fast-moving technologies. Scott, well, no, Scott says something else. Let's see who else. So many people asked about, Mauro said stay on top of technologies. Who else? So a lot of people asked about, keeping up. Gerson said to maintain, actualize it, right? So a lot of people asked about, and I'm not even halfway, right? So a lot of people asked about keeping up with new technology, right? So keeping up with new technology. So let's start by answering that question. How do I keep up with so many things that are going around? How do I keep up with so many technologies? How do I find the time to keep up with lots of things? One of the questions is, should I be a generalist or specialist? That's kind of related to, should I focus on one thing or focus on lots of different things? So here is what you need to think about. You have to have what we call a career in T, right? A T career. You have to learn a lot, you have to know a little bit about lots of things, right? You have to know a little bit about lots of things, right? Why you got to learn a little bit about lots of things? Because opportunity, you don't know where the next opportunity is going to come from. You don't know what the new technology is going to be. You don't know what is that's going to be, that's going to give you a job offer. You don't know which project your skill going to be valid for, right? You don't know. We don't know. No one knows what is the technology landscape is going to be in a year from now. We have some ideas, we can kind of weed out the stupid ones, but even the stupid ones sometimes show up amazing. You know, when Java started, everyone thought it was a stupid idea, right? So you got to be in line with what's going on. You gotta know, you gotta read stuff, you gotta understand what's going on. When people are talking about some technology, you gotta know what it is, right? People are talking about cloud computing. Know what cloud computing is. You don't need to do much about it, but you need to understand what it is, how it could be important, right? You know, if people are talking about automation, understand what automation means. Oh, people are talking about containers, understand what containers is. So that's what we did this week, right? So you saw Ian talking about JavaScript. Maybe you never thought about JavaScript, learning JavaScript before, but now you know a little bit about JavaScript, right? Elder talking about Java EE. Maybe you never did anything with Java EE, but now you know a little bit about Java EE. Yolande talking about, using your Twitter better. Maybe you never thought about using Twitter, but now you know a little bit about it. Now you know what's important, right? Ruslan talking about containers. So maybe you never thought about doing containers before, but now you know a little bit. Ruslan even did a self-paced training that you can take to learn containers, right? So just by knowing, Leonardo yesterday talked about Internet of Things. Maybe you never even heard about it, but now you know about it, right? Eder yesterday, he talked about web applications. Maybe you never did web application, but now you know a little bit. Rafael talking on Thursday about reducing bugs in your project. Maybe you never thought about those things, but now you know a little bit. So know a little bit of lots of things. You never know when your next opportunity is going to be, right? So you gotta know why that thing's important. You gotta know why that thing is. But, and that's a big but, it's a T career. You have to know a lot about something. You got to know a lot about something. You got to go deep into something. You really got to go deep into something. You cannot just be, I know about everything and nothing at all, right? A few things you got to know deep, right? If you are a web developer, know everything you can know about web development. If you are an IoT developer, know everything you can know about IoT, right? You got to be good at something. Right? Because if you know a lot of things, you can get the opportunity that comes up, right? But if you know deeply, it means that you are a good developer, right? You are a good developer because you know something deep. So maybe tomorrow, the deep thing is not this anymore. It's going to be another one, but that's okay because you know you can go deep. You know how to go deep. You know how to study. You know how to focus. You know. Right? So, yes, there is a lot of technology. You do not need to keep up in detail with everything, but you have to choose one thing and go in detail in that one thing, right? Because you got to be very good at something. Otherwise, you're going to be good at nothing, right? So think about your T career, understand everything. Understand a little bit of lots of things and try to see the opportunities that you can go deep. Okay? You got to have the T career. I would like to become a Java architect. My present experience, 9 years in web development. How should I go about it? Yeah, so I'm gonna prefer the question that you ask here than the ones in the survey, right? Because the survey I can answer later. There's a quick question. So Balzur asked, I don't have a Skype ID. Can we do it with Google Hangout? Yes, we can, Balzur. Yes, that's okay. I kind of prefer Skype because it's a little bit more stable. But yes, we can do in Google Hangouts. What's the term for the T thing again? Your career. Your career has to be a career in T, right? You know a little bit about lots of things. And a few things go deep, right? I'm not sure if there's a name for that. It's a T career, okay, right? So Aziz says he can't get a convenient schedule, right? Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna open All right, Aziz, I'm going to open some more slots on Saturday then, okay? Let's see if I can just quickly do this. If, can you guys bear with me for 1 second? Let me see if I can do this quickly and see. I'm going to expand a little bit my time on Saturdays. How about that? All right. Okay, Saturday looks a good thing, right? So let me quickly do this. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so yeah, I can see lots of there's still some slots available, guys. Not there's way more slots available, I guess. But let me see if I can just open up a little bit more slots for Saturday. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna open up some new slots here. Let's see if that helps you get slot on Saturday. If it doesn't right now, I'm trying to do this really quick here. So if it doesn't get you some good time right now, I'm gonna try to open up more times in my schedule later today. Okay, so if that didn't work for you, let's see. Okay, yeah. So if you can't get this lot right now, it's probably because I made something wrong on my expansion here, and so I'll try to do it again some other day. Okay. Well, okay. I think I can do this right now. Okay, I'm extending my time for Saturday. Okay, and maybe that's going to help you. Okay, all right. So if that was not enough, I will work out. I will fix this later, and then we can have. I've gotten a slot. Great, Aziz. Perfect. All right. So okay. Let me get more question here. So let me get back to it. So Deepak asks, I wanted to become a Java architect. My present experience 90 years in web development. So first thing, Deepak, if you know web development, so what is an architect? An architect is someone that can take a look at a problem and try to apply the right architecture for it. So and you have to think about all kinds of different things, right? It's not only development. You have to think about scalability. You have to think about high availability. There's all kinds of things you have to think about as an architect. So if you know web development, you have to understand very well the architecture of a web application, right? So what is the architecture of a web application? You have to understand how web servers work. You have to understand how the application server works. You have to understand how the call goes through the whole process. You have to understand things like load balancers and how you deploy those things to cloud environments. How do you do things like zero downtime deployments? How you can automatically deploy new version of application. All of those things are things you need to understand to be a good web developer, right? And they're all things related to architecture. So how do you go about it? I think you should first understand the architecture of the things you already do, right? The more you understand about this architecture, so that's a very important thing. You have a history. You have a life, right? You've done things in the past for 9 years. All of us have done this, right? So we've done things for 9 years. 9 years is a long time. You are a professional developer, a long time. So you cannot think, oh, I'm just going to throw away this 9 years that I have, and now I'm going to become an architect that has nothing to do with what I did. No. You got to get your story and use your story to push you forward for new things, right? So if you already know web development, go be an architect for web applications, right? That will let you get all your knowledge and apply to a new skill, right? So go online, see what are the skills that an architect needs, right? Just search Google. What are the skills that an architect needs? And go take a look, right? So let me just kind of, just so everyone understands that. So, skills to be a software architect. Okay? I'm just kind of searching this in Google, right? So, there is the first link here is a link from IBM, right? And the InfoQ has the qualities of a soft architecture. And then there's 4 essential skills soft architecture needs, but they often don't have. That's a good title. So I'm just kind of getting the third link that shows up here, right? Okay, never saw this page before. So this page here lists 4 skills, right? Leadership, negotiation, decision making, and work with architecture teams. Well, not bad. Can you do you have all those skills, right? So Deepak, do you have all those skills? Again, leadership. Let me copy those things here. Okay, so the skills that this particular article, I'm just gonna copy the link. It's better. Okay, I'm looking at this link right here that I just found on Google, right? So the skills are leadership. What are leadership, negotiation, decision making, and working with teams. All right, those are the 4 skills. Can you? Oops! Oh shoot! I typed in the wrong place. Sorry. Okay, so those are the 4 skills, and the link is this link right here. All right. So Deepak, do you have those 4 skills? Can you work on them? What do you need to do to become a leader, right? Well, you need to share what you know. Every time you share what you know, you lead people to do the things you think they should be doing, right? Do you have negotiation skills, right? Go learn negotiation, right? Go buy, go to the market and try to buy something for a cheaper price. That's negotiation, right? Research what price the guy would accept and negotiate. That's how you learn a skill, by doing it. Do you have decision-making skills? Right? You start making decisions instead of asking other people. Ask them their opinion and make a decision yourself, right? Working with teams. Can you get better in working with teams? So those are 4 skills. So go practice the skills to be an architect. That's how you do to be what you want to do. What you want to be. You go practice your skills. Okay. So let me see here. More questions. Okay, Manik says, one more trick related to resources. Important to know JDK API classes. Once a week, choose a class packed from JDK and read the API docs. Right, yes. Go read the codes, right? You can either choose a class or look at class you're using all the time, right? So, let's say you're using JPA. So all the time you've been calling JPA class. Take a look at that class that you're using all the time. I kind of prefer, Manik, I like for you to choose something and go study deeper. But I kind of like that you study the things that you use. It's very easy to start studying things in general. It's good to study things in general a little bit, but you go deeper. It's nice that you go deeper on things that you need, right? Because things that you need means you're going to use them. And the more you use, the better you get, right? So when you're going to choose your class to go deeper in the class, go choose something that you're using, right? If you're using a lot of system out println, go take a look at that. If you're using, a lot of, servlet classes, go use that, right? If you're using a lot of Swing classes, go use that. If you're using a lot of JavaFX classes, go take a look at that. Go take a look at things that you're going to use, right? So Aziz, I really need you to answer those questions, right? Do not trick the system. Okay. All right. You get the guys to do something, and people are already tricking the system. I need those answers so I can talk to you. Okay. All right. The problem is that once you try to focus to grow a little deeper on let's say enterprise skills, you realize you missed something in the front. And let's say last framework, or in front end, yes, to be an architect, you do not need, so to be an architect, you do not need to be the best front end developer, the best CSS developer, the best Java developer, the best everything developer. No. If you be an architect, you need to know how things work, right? So you need to know CSS, how CSS works. You need to know how JavaScript framework works. Oh, so do I need to know all the frameworks? Well, you need to know how they work, right? You need to know how Angular works. Does it do a call? Does it use JavaScript somehow? What does it do, right? You need to know how it works so you can build an architecture that makes sense, right? As an architect, you need to build an architecture that makes sense. And as an architect, one of the skills is working with teams. You need to know this architecture makes sense. So I'm going to bring this guy here to do the JavaScript part. I'm going to bring this guy here to do the Java part. I'm going to bring this guy here to do the cloud part. And you're going to build a team that's able to implement your architecture, right? So, you do not, if you want to go deep on something, you have to go deep on the things that are important for you, right? So maybe you got to go deep on being an architect. And so you got to go find what the skills the architect needs. Okay. All right. So yeah, we've passed it 1 hour and a half here. So I don't want to get you guys too long. I don't see any extra questions. I think it's. Did I give you enough time to register and take a look and get a slot? I can take a look here. Let me quickly see here. If how many people have actually registered. I think I have one. There's lots of people registered. We still have some slots available, I think. So no one else is complaining about not having the slots, right? So good guys. You even let me enough time for me to have lunch on Saturday. All right. So okay. So I hopefully you take benefits of this conversation. I'm gonna send an email to the list. If you guys want to schedule that later, I'm gonna send an email to the list. And if someone saw the replay, how do they schedule time? Well, if you're watching this on the replay, you're seeing the offer here on the side, and you'll be able to schedule time, right? I'm gonna make sure that there is enough times for the replay also. So I work in an environment where people don't take you really serious unless you have been baptized by the fire in that field. Well, Deepakat, you'd be surprised. I understand people want you to have experience, right? But there's so many different ways that you can get experience. So many different ways that you can get experience. You do not need to be working for a company to get experience, right? Go and do an open source project. I can guarantee you the best way for you to show an experience is, look my name here on this project. I'm doing this project. That's my experience. It's that is trial by fire. Very strong. So yes, Deepak, there is lots of ways you can get experience. So thanks, Noel. Thanks, Marwin. Hopefully you guys will get a good spot that we can talk. And basically, again, if you have not scheduled your time yet, doing this conversation is going to be a one-on-one conversation. As I said, no strings attached. I'm doing this because I'm putting my time because you're putting your time in here. We're going to do three things, right? We will I will understand where you are right now and what you want to do in the next year. What do you want for your future? I'm going to try to help you just figure out what is the biggest thing that prevents you from achieving the future that you want. And we're going to build together a plan that you can get and you can do and you can achieve what you want in the next year. All right? So, once you do this, let me tell you, I did this in the beginning of the year, right? The last time I did this, I opened up slots on my calendar. It was in January this year. And I did more than 60 hours of, I did more than 120 hours of one-on-one coaching. And absolute 100% of people that participate on that, they said it was one of the best conversations they ever had about their careers. Because it's about your career. It's not about mine. It's not about everyone else. It's not about answering general questions. It's about your career, right? So, that's another opportunity right now. I'm going to be doing this throughout whole July and August. I want to do again 120 hours again, July and August. Okay, so if you want to schedule time right now, if you don't schedule time right now, I can guarantee I'm going to start sending emails to my list, and all my available time will be taken in the next few days. Okay, so it might take some time for me to actually get to you because 120 hours is a lot of hours, but but I will try to get everyone. Okay, all right. So I don't see any more questions. I just see people thanking me. You don't need to thank me. Thank you for investing in your career. That's the important thing. You are investing in your career. If you invest in your career, I'm going to invest in your career. How about that, right? It's a deal, right? So please schedule time if you want. And thanks a lot for everyone for being here. Thanks a lot for everyone to participate in this discussion. And so if you're following us on the Java Tour online, so this is the last presentation of the Java Tour online. Okay, so it is the last presentation. But it's not the end of the tour online. So what we're going to do next week, we're going to send you some extra material, some extra content. So you're not going to be able, going to need to watch it on particular times. We're going to send you extra content next week, right? But if you want to, feel free to reply to my emails. I'm going to be answering all emails next week also. So, thanks everyone for being here, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I know for some of you guys, it's going to be a holiday in the US next week. So, hope you enjoy the holidays. For everyone else, let's find times to talk and keep the discussion going. Okay. I don't see any more questions. So thanks everyone. It's been amazing to be here with you. Thanks a lot. And I'll see you online in the next few days. Thanks. Bye.